All right, guys, today I wanted to talk about battle plans, why they're so important, and why battle plans are the difference between making your life work and making your life play. Once I started, and I don't, by the way, when I say battle plans, I don't mean something like a to-do list. It's definitely not a to-do list, because a to-do list is just a series of actions that you need to do in order to achieve something, which, so I'm going to get into why it is not a to-do list, why you shouldn't have a to-do list, in fact, why you should just throw out your to-do list if you have one, and why you should never ask yourself, how can I get the job done? Why that is the language of the poor, and why that is the language of an employee. And chances are, if you're watching this, you don't want to be an employee, you want to contribute a lot more. And so that's why I'm making this video. So I just want to get into what a battle plan is and what it isn't. A battle plan, like I said before, is not a to-do list. It is to remind you of the result or the outcome that you are after. And I have some notes here, but that I took when I was just thinking of this video. But, activity with no purpose is just busyness. Activity with no purpose is just busyness. The chances are, whenever you start to feel in your life like you're just like a cog in the wheel, if you've ever felt that way, it's probably because you are doing actions that seemingly have no purpose or produce no effect. And so you start to feel a little bit like an effect of life rather than affecting life. And whenever you have action that has a purpose, that has a clear result that you're after, an outcome that you're after, you will not feel that way. That is whenever you actually are managing yourself and managing your life. And so I just want to make that distinction clear. A battle plan is not a to-do list. A battle plan is there to remind you of what result and outcome you are after. So, and again, this is the one thing that whenever I started using battle plans, just as a way to keep myself accountable, and to also, I have multiple battle plans with multiple people that I share in business. It's to keep ourselves accountable and to understand what the priorities are for what results we're after. Okay, so like I said, activity with no purpose is just busyness. You'll start to feel like a cog in the wheel. But activity with a purpose is what we would call games or play. So then you're in the realm of games, and you can create a lot more on that outcome that you're after. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you start to ask yourself the question of what outcome am I after here? If you're like, well, I want to, for example, I'll give you an example. Recently in one of our businesses, I wanted to, I had the outcome that I wanted. I wanted to create something, we said, well, we want to scale the business. We want to be able to expand. Okay, well, what does that involve? That's going to involve hiring new people, and that's going to also involve training them up. And over the past few years, I've seen a lot of people come and go. I am the operator for the business. I run the business operations, so I also run teams. But the one thing that has caused given me a lot of sort of traffic on my lines, where it takes up a lot of my time and attention, is training up new people. And they always have questions, and I would just have this thing where every time we would hire someone new, I'd have to make them new videos and show them how to do things, and then they would quit, or they would get fired, or something would happen, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, and my key performance indicator is the overall revenue of the business. And so if I'm spending time training people how to do things, that's their post, or just explaining to them how to do a simple function, I'm spending time and attention on something that is not directly correlated to the overall revenue of the business. And so I started feeling like a cog in the wheel, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm performing a bunch of actions that seemingly, are fruitless because, something would happen, or the person would quit, or they would get fired, or they wouldn't become interested, or they would leave and, work in a different department, which has happened, which is great. A lot of really productive people end up, if they do get bored in one area, they'll just look for a different solution in a different area. But I'm saying all this to say, what the outcome I was after, the result that I was after was I wanted to be able to scale the business. I wanted to be able to, so what would that look like? What would we have to do in order to do that? Well, we would have to probably have some type of internal training program, which is what I decided to create. So I created this internal training program. And if you look at every big business that expands, they have their own internal training program. So for specifically for their own business. Whereas before, if you're a small business owner and you're like, well, we want to do email marketing now. So, you might go, hire a contractor or hire an employee and say, watch this YouTube video on email marketing and tell me what you think. And rather than do that, which is just very generalized and doesn't really apply to your own business. It's just, honestly, it's not even it's less helpful than anything. I was like, let me create our own internal training program so that way we can get people up to speed for what is needed and wanted in our business. That will allow us to scale and allow us to get people up to speed a lot faster on what's needed and wanted in our business, and will ultimately make us a lot more successful. So, and then we can also track their progress with this system that I created, where I can look at each person we hire and I can say, go through the internal training program, let me know when you're done. And we also have questions that we designed in there so that whenever they complete a lesson, they're able to answer the questions and they're able to get trained up on the business. So that's an example, a very real example of what I did recently, and how it's more a results focused thing. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was the reason why I didn't say oh, well, how can I get this done? How can I get that done? The reason I'm saying that is the language of the poor is because that's the language of an employee. I could say, so-and-so, go create a landing page that, for this product, we're going to sell it at $47. An employee would say, okay, how can I get that done? That is not the language that you should be, and you're not an employee if you're watching this video. You're interested in much more. So what I did was I asked myself, what result am I after on creating this internal training program? Well, not only do I want to achieve the things of scaling the business and being able to train up a lot more people at once, and I would reduce the amount of time that I would have to be involved in it, I want to have fun with it. I want to be able to create on it. I want to be inspired to create this thing. So what did I do? I'm talking to you now from Rio de Janeiro. I wanted to fly here and create this, and I'm inspired. I love this city. There's a lot of greenery. There's trees everywhere. I'm looking over a skyline right now with mango trees and all sorts of different fruit trees with monkeys along the power lines, and it's inspiring. I want to do this. I want to be here with you, talking to you, and that's why I was inspired to make this YouTube video. So that's a real example of how I applied this to my own business. And I'm gonna get out of the sun here for a second. Okay. The next thing I want to talk to you about just really quickly is managing. The battle plan is for managing yourself and your life, and to keep yourself accountable, and to keep you on track with what's important, and to prioritize what's important. If people don't know what's important, they will not execute on it. And if they don't know why they're doing it, they will definitely not execute on it. And they're just going to say, well, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And the reason I'm creating this is so that you don't have to keep running into that issue, especially with people that you're working with, whether it's your teammates or if it's employees or subcontractors that you hire. It's oftentimes a lot better to, and I had this happen recently with one of our teammates that I was working with, and I said, hey, we want to create this challenge. We want to create, it's going to be over 5 days, and my idea with this is we want to be able to give out a course for free, but we don't want to actually give them the course. We want them to have to go through the training every single day in order to get the course. Otherwise, people just opt into something and they get a free course and they never do it. But I want to be able to drip this to them over the course of 4 or 5 days. And then on the 5th day, they're going to have so many wins and they're going to be doing so well that we're going to offer them a subscription at the end of it and say, hey, if you had a lot of success with this, we also have a subscription, and you can join here. So I told my teammate that I was working with, I was like, well, I want to give this big course away for free, but anyways, I don't know how to do it. I'm just gonna that's what I want to do, and we want to do it over 4 or 5 days. I know it's a big course, but I was like, anyways, that's the result. That's what we want. And he was able to come up with a great idea. I would have probably taken me a long time to figure out the idea he created. So we were able to actually execute on it, and it was a lot better. It was so much better whenever I just told him the result that we wanted. And I didn't say, okay, you need to do this, create this on this page, and then on the next day you're gonna do this. And we just said, here's the objective, this is the outcome we want. I'm gonna leave it up to you to figure out how to execute on it. First of all, it empowers your teammates or your employees or your subcontractors. If you just tell them the outcome you want and say, I don't care how you get there, I'm going to leave it up to you, oftentimes it'll be a much better solution than what you were thinking to begin with. So that's just a little tip, pro tip whenever you're working with a team. I found it to be much, much more effective whenever you, as a leader, you lead by giving people their own self-determination to get to the result or to get to the outcome that you want. And you just have to make the outcome very clear, make them understand what the purpose is of what they're doing and why they're doing it. So that's about it for this video. I just wanted to go over those points on why creating a battle plan is the difference between making your life work and making your life play. And whenever you start looking at creating battle plans as not necessarily a to-do list, but what result am I after? What outcome am I after? And approaching it from that way, you will arrive at solutions that are a lot more creative, and you will probably get there in much less time than you think. So with that being said, I just want to leave you with that. Hopefully you found this useful. If you want to get any more information on it, or if you want me to go into more detail, or whatever, just leave a comment below. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you thought this was interesting. I'm gonna create more videos like this. I have some more in the pipeline actually that I'm gonna be getting out here pretty quickly. But that's all I have for today, and I will see you on the next one.